Okay.
I may not know the exact date.
That's fine. I just give that for an example.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I might ask you, for example,
How was the food?
how was the food? That's a question I've asked a number of people. And if you just say great or lousy, that really doesn't convey to the listener of the videotape how the food was, because they won't know what the question was unless you say the food was really awful, all right, or the food was really great, or whatever the situation was. Okay, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Food was good, but never enough.
Ah, okay.
Never enough.
All right. When you go to hook yourself up and
Yeah,
listen?
let me just.
See, you weren't ready. You lied.
Well,
You misled us.
I figured you'd get them rolling because then they don't know if you're really filming or
Oh, well.
you're
Okay.
taping or not.
The first thing you should do is identify the unit you were a part of, the first unit, and how you came to enlist in it.
Okay.
All right, so that would be the and where you live. At the time you enlisted, you lived in Dorchester, you lived in Hyde Park, wherever you lived. You lived in Fall River. I don't know where you lived when you first enlisted, but you should probably say that to set a background for who you are. We will run a subtitle like they do in printing with your name and everything under your picture. So you don't have to say, my name is Warren Brown. But you should start off and tell us about, you ready? About where you lived. Okay, so why don't you start and tell us where you lived and how you came to enlist in whatever unit you enlisted in the 26th Division.
Now, you're not going to ask me any questions, just want me...
No, you're going to ramble from here on.
Okay.
All right?
Excuse me.
Yep.
I don't have to mention my name.
No. We'll have that in the subtitle, identifying who you are.
I first joined the Guards in 1948. The unit I signed up with was the 272nd Field Artillery, Mass Army National Guard.
Start over again.
Excuse me?
Start over again.
Not that I would do much better if you asked me questions.
Okay, I'll ask you questions and you
So
ramble, okay? Don't answer them yes or no. We'll do it that way.
Okay, do it, please.
All right. First question, and pause a little after the question so we can edit out
Okay.
my statement easier. Okay. Approximately when did you enlist, and in what unit did you enlist in the 26th Division?
I first came to the National Guards in 1948. I joined the 272nd Field Artillery Battalion. I was in the unit for 2 years before it was activated. It was activated sometime in August 1950. I'll never forget that day. I can recall that particular evening, I saw all of these white officers in the arena. Excuse me, what do you call it? Like, on the drill floor. I was wondering why they were there, because never had I seen a white officer, or white officers in general, talking with the officers of our unit. I knew right away there's something big must have been up. Of course, all of us stood in rank, wondering what was going on. Turned around, I saw some of the soldiers, my buddies, whispering to each other. They too, by the looks of their faces, seemed to be asking the same question I was. What was going on? Why were these officers here? Then when I saw one of the officers take command of the battalion in its entirety, I became deeply concerned about what was happening. The next thing I knew, we were called to attention by our regular battalion leader, and he in turn turned over the battalion to a white officer, whose rank I don't recall at the present time. I believe he may have been a colonel. And then he directed the adjutant to read a set of general orders. The general orders in essence stated that as of this date, again I don't recall the date, this unit, the 272nd Field Artillery Battalion, has been active and will report to duty as of September 1952. I stood stunned when I heard that announcement, to see the men in ranks looking at each other, almost in a state of disbelief. I said, this can't be happening. And then after the general orders were read in their entirety, the officer who took charge from our unit commander returned charge of the unit to him, who in turn explained to us in further detail what that meant. He says, in short, you are now a part of the United States Army. You will have 30 days to take care of your personal business. As of such and such a day, you will report back here on active duty status. The Army, by the way, in case many of the viewers may be interested, was called the Dorchester Street Armory. It does not exist anymore. In its place stands the Southeast Expressway Correction, an extension to the Mass Turnpike, and opposite where they used to stand is Back Bay Station. In the old days, it was called the Dorchester Street Armory. After we reported to duty for activation, we were sent to Camp McCoy, Wisconsin, for basic training. After basic training, most of us were allowed to come home for Christmas, the New Year's holidays. And then after that, we were assigned or shipped out to Germany. We were stationed at a place called Schwabische, about 30 miles, our geography is correct, about 30 miles southwest of Stuttgart, Germany.
Why did you enlist in the National Guard?
I enlisted in the National Guard, I guess for one principal reason. I had 3 brothers who saw service during World War II, and I more or less wanted to emulate them. I wanted to be a soldier too. Another reason is that 2 or 3 of my friends that joined the National Guard unit, they told me to come down, see what it was like. I liked what I saw at the Army, and I joined.
Now, the unit at that time, was it all black?
Oh yes, the unit at that time was all black.
Were there were the people from all one location, or were the troops from all over?
The troops were from all parts of the city of Boston, in neighboring towns such as Cambridge, Medford, Arlington, in various parts of Boston. At that time, the black population of Boston was not as heavily populated as it is today. I doubt if we had more than 25,000 blacks back there in 1948 in the city itself. To make up a unit the size the 272nd was, I believe blacks had to be recruited from elsewhere around the city of Boston.
There's a lot of camaraderie in the unit.
There was a lot of camaraderie because because those who joined the Guards were either part of a neighborhood group that had joined, or they had 2 or 3 friends who had joined, and who they became, you might say, very good friends. It was almost like various sections of a neighborhood joining together to go into the Guards. Everybody knew everyone, for the most part. Now, the funny thing was I didn't realize the Army was segregated in those days. I believe the white unit that would meet there on different nights, and it would leave a small cadre of troops there on the nights we drilled, were part of a medic outfit. I wanted the preference to what I was doing, and since I had an interest in nursing at that particular time, I sought out to join the medic. I was told I could not for a variety of reasons. The reason given was that I was already assigned to a unit, and a transfer to it would be impossible. In reflection, I wonder if that was true. I accepted it, however, at the time.
After you were released from Germany, did you leave the Guard?
Yes, I did. Prior to my going into the Guards, I had 2 years of college. That's why I was stunned when they announced back in August 1950 that we were activated. To me, that meant the disruption of my college career, and I didn't like the idea. Yes, so when I returned from Germany, after I was discharged, I went back to school. I didn't see the Guards again until 1972.
You came back in the Guards in 1972?
Yes, I did.
What changes did you see in 1972 when you came back in the Guard?
The changes were unbelievable. In fact, when I was over in Germany back in 1952, that was what I might call an unbelievable change. I was discharged with the rank of Staff Sergeant. The Staff Sergeant who replaced me was a white fellow. And I was informed that President Truman had signed an executive order and that they were slowly integrating the armed forces. As far as I was concerned, that integration took place overseas. When I returned to the Guards, I saw women in uniform, in the same outfit, and I was wondering if I was in the right place or if I had done the right thing or what. And I guess my chief concern was, why were they here? Of course, the answer was obvious. Not only had the armed forces been totally integrated in terms of the races, it had also been integrated in terms of the sexes. But it was just something I couldn't quite adjust to initially. Even though the one female who was in my section and I got along very well. It was just something unbelievable. I couldn't question her qualifications because the soldiers always say, well, are they qualified? So forth, always finding a reason to keep it totally male. But she was good, very good, personable, knew her job.
Did you find there was a difference in the soldiers themselves and in their attitude or the reasons they enlisted?
I certainly, they had to guard their language on occasion. At least they thought that was the appropriate thing to do, just out of tradition. You know, wherever you see ladies present, kind of hold your tongue back. You don't use the sort of language you might ordinarily use. But as the years went by, from 1972 on, the men found it rather difficult to keep up with the language some of our female troops were using. So I guess all things equaled out in the end. I'm not sure. But it was, the shocker came when we were on 2 weeks annual training program. We went to Fort Benning, Georgia. We were assigned there. I saw a drill instructor. There was nothing too unusual about seeing a drill instructor, but this one happened to have been a female. And I saw this female, probably about 5 feet 3 or 5 feet 4 tall, issuing out orders to a group of men. It took me some time to get over that also.
How long were you in the Guard? When did you finally get out?
I thought, in 1991.
You're going to have to say, I finally get out in 1991, or it doesn't mean anything to the tape.
May edit that.
Yeah. When did you finally get out?
Let me just be
It's
more
warm.
precise about it. I never know. There's not even a date on here. It's
Was it 91?
91.
Just say I retired in 91. You got your 20 years in, you got your card?
Yes, I'm 20 years in. But I'm not, actually it should have been 90. I have to get that corrected.
That's right.
But I retired, I left the Guard in 1991. And in reflection, I'm happy about the experience. I had what one may say, my second tour of duty with the Mass Army National Guards. I learned a whole lot, gave me a golden opportunity, a wonderful opportunity to keep up with the younger soldiers, and also to keep up with the changes that were taking place, the technological changes in particular that were taking place in the armed forces.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Did I cover everything?
I think you did, yeah. I think you did.
Let me just sit here a minute or two. I think there was one question you mentioned, I can't think of it.
What was the food like?
for the food like. That's a new recruit correction. Once we were activated, we all had our physicals. I think I just made the weight requirement in those days. I weighed I think it was 137, and I weighed 137. I know once we started basic training, it seemed that I could never get enough to eat. One reason I don't eat dessert today, one of the main reasons I don't eat it is that I used to give it my dessert just for that one extra slice of bread. I would trade off my cake for an extra slice of bread. Sometimes I would get 2 slices of bread out of it because 2 soldiers in turn would split the cake. And that meant 2 slices of bread. I didn't, when I came home that Christmas break, I weighed 156 pounds. The food was great. As far as I was concerned, the only thing is, I never got enough of it. Sometimes I would give up my weekend passes just to be there in the Betts Hall, just to almost eat as much as I possibly could.
Did you find that the guardsmen were treated any differently than the regular Army people were when you were activated?
I believe the guys in general at that time had a low esteem of themselves. But many of them, especially the black outfits, there was some problem whether or not the black officers in particular should retain the same rank. Some of them were sent to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, to the artillery school for further training, and so that they would be assured of the ranks they had. And those of us who were NCOs at the time were always made to feel inferior to others. They would always say that the RA, of course you knew that by your serial number then, it was either NG, RA, even when you went to the PX. One of the clerks will look up at you and say, oh, you're NG, meaning National Guard. So there was some of that rubbed off on the soldiers. And depending on the soldier himself, determined how he felt about it, or how much it discouraged him perhaps from feeling like a soldier completely, or just accepting the fact that the RAs, those who enlisted, were better than the National Guards.
Do you feel you were as good as they were? Do you feel that the National Guardsmen were as good as the RAs?
Well, I felt I was better. I felt I was better.
Do you want to state that? And I felt I was better than the RAs. I thought that not only that we were as good as, but I was better than the RAs. Why don't you just put that in a full sentence so it comes across in a full sentence? I like that comment myself.
No.
Do you feel you were as good as the RAs?
Yes, I felt I was good, if not better than the RA. In fact, I had an advantage over both of them. I did have 2 years of training with the National Guard. That was something positive. Many of those RA soldiers had just entered the service. They still had to acquire some of the skills I already had. I went into communication, and ultimately I became a communication sergeant. And I had acquired all these skills prior to my unit being activated. So I felt, just the way I was brought up too, always be determined. If ever you're involved with something, just try to do the best you can, and always try to be upfront. So I'm not saying that I did not ever have a feeling of low esteem, but if I did have it, I certainly accepted it as a challenge, and I would do the best I could to overcome that challenge, to emerge victorious, you might say. But in general, I felt just as good as any other soldier.
You feel the National Guardsmen were just as good, if not better, than the regular Army soldiers?
Well,
Make
yes.
that a full statement.
Oh, I feel the National Guardsmen is as good, if not better, as any other soldier who might be in the armed forces. Especially those who were from Boston, because we had 4 years training as a cadet in high school. So we knew the drills, we knew the marches.
It's good.
Okay.
Yep.